Hi guys, and welcome to my channel, AverageBlack Girl. Today I want to talk about a few things. So this is gonna be me just talking all day because I feel like talking and I miss you guys. So first things first, I want to talk about Colin Kaepernick and him deciding to protest and why I am all for it. And there is no, I feel, bad way to protest. I think that when people protest, they protest in a way that they feel comfortable, that is going to take a stand for them. If you are famous and you are black, you are given the opportunity to be a voice for the voiceless. Regardless of if you are affected directly or indirectly, you are a voice for the voiceless. And I just want to applaud him for taking a stand. Now, if you look at his Instagram and posts and things like that, he's been woke. He's actually hashtag woke and fine, or fine and woke, or both. But he's been like that, but because he is mixed race and because his adoptive family is white, he was just under the radar and people weren't paying him much attention until he actually just decided to take a stand. And when he speaks very clear, he's very knowledgeable, and this is how you protest. And I really don't understand the disagreement and people downing the way that he's protesting, except the fact that white people just don't want us to protest, period. Like, this is not violent. He's not disrupting anything. Like people say, oh, we don't want you to protest during rush hour. You want to get home. We're not affected. You're affecting people that don't have anything to do with it, have anything to do with your oppression. He's not doing any of that. He's just taking a stand, and it makes sense. Now I want to get into the Olympic protests, the track Olympic protest with John Carlos and Tommie Smith, the 1968 Olympics. He was just interviewed, John Carlos specifically was just interviewed a few weeks ago or about the Colin Kaepernick thing, and he was saying that he encourages it and that, you know, if he had to do it all over, he would do it again. And then he goes deep into what was the aftermath after that. And the aftermath after that was that not only was his wife and family harassed and he lost friends, but the FBI was actually harassing them as well. So much to the point that his wife actually committed suicide. So now, you know, not even 100 years later, we are applauding them and they're in our history books. But after they did that, they were actually banned from the Olympics and were asked to leave the Olympic Village. They had to, you know, they weren't welcome to stay in the USA area and had to go. So this is nothing new for black people to protest and for the powers that be to disappoint us and to basically try to down us and punish us for that. And, you know, for some people it's more effective than others. But for me, like, the first thing I thought of when I was thinking of Colin is that I'm just going to pray for him. I pray that he is covered and that he is strong and that his faith will not waver, because not only is he doing a great and fantastic thing, but people are going to come to him left and right because he is, you know, such a dominant, popular player. And I see that people are now starting to follow suit. There's so much as 3 players that have already said they're going to join him. There's people all over that are saying they're going to join him. And I just think that that is a beautiful thing. And I salute him. And let this be a start. Like, we all need to do our part. And we all can do our part. And, you know, for me, my aha moment was Trayvon Martin. I'm not exactly sure what his aha moment was. It probably was a lot of different things that have been going on. But I just really applaud that, and we need to support it. Everyone has their own way of doing things, but we all have the same goal. And the thing about us is God made us different so that what I feel about something or what I'm passionate about doesn't have to necessarily be what you're passionate about. But we all have the same goal of bringing Black people to a different era than where we were before, advancing our people. Globally, Black people and people of a darker hue are the most oppressed. And so we're going to catapult that. And know that when you do that, not everyone's going to be with you. If you're not aware, like his birth mother has gone on Twitter to publicly denounce his actions and what he's doing. And I'm just appalled that she feels that she even has rank to do that. You are not a part of his life. You did not raise him. So how dare you tell him how to feel when he's affiliating with his Black side and being a Black man. Like, his mom is white. Let me point that out. And I just feel like that is so just shady. But I can't say that that hasn't even happened to me. Like, I had a best friend of 18 years. And when I started Average Black Girl is when we had the end of our friendship. And she, it was fine when I was in her wedding and I was her maid of honor and I was paying for all this stuff. And when she had her baby shower and I gave her, $200 for whatever, everything was cool. But as soon as the baby was born and I started really focusing on Average Black Girl, she told me that, you know what, I don't want to be friends with you. You have jaded political views and you just feel like you've changed. And I'm like, but you're Black and your husband is mixed and your baby is Black. Like, I really didn't understand it. It's not something that I'm to understand, though. Sometimes when God takes you from one place to another, he reveals people that were never here for you. And although that really hurt, like that hurt worse than like a breakup, but we've moved on. And it happens, and it will happen, and there's no rhyme or reason to it, especially when Black people, I'm like, so you're not for the advancement of Black people? I'm not really understanding. But at that time, she was living with, her and her husband were living with her white family side, so maybe that affected something. I'm not really sure. But it happens, and it will happen to you. And if it does happen to you while you're finding yourself in what you're going to do to be part of this movement for the advancement of the next generation, it's okay. But know that it does affect those people even if they don't post or they aren't open with that. And like I said, that was why my first thought was, I'm going to pray for him. Like, Colin is in my prayers. I am lifting you up every day. And I just want you to stay strong. But I salute you. I salute you so much. The next thing I want to point out is the media. I really, really, really don't want you guys to get so caught up in the media that you're not understanding what is really going on here. And I posted a quote that I saw on Facebook on my Average Black Girl Facebook yesterday. And I'm going to read it to you. And it basically says, this: Jehovah's Witnesses make up an estimated amount of 2.5 million people in the United States. They do not pledge allegiance to the flag, stand during the national anthem, or vote. And that's okay because it's based on religious beliefs. However, people are up in arms over one man exercising his right as an American for something that he believes in. You can keep letting the media tell you what to be outraged about, or you can wake the hell up. Blue or red pill, the choice is yours. And this was written by Shannon Cash. And I just want to point, like, it doesn't matter what the reason behind it is. I'm not here to argue for or against Jehovah's Witnesses. I'm just saying the reaction to the media is inappropriate. You guys are up in arms over one man who has a very justifiable reason. And there's 2.5 million people that don't vote, don't pledge allegiance ever. And the media says nothing about it. It doesn't matter. It's their right. And the media will tell you that, you know, he has the privileges of being an American, so how dare he not, you know, pledge allegiance? But so do these Jehovah's Witnesses. They have the privileges of being an American citizen, and they do not pledge allegiance. So we really need to be cognizant of what we're so outraged about and pay attention to what the media shows us, because I'm sure the media was just as outraged when Rosa Parks sat down and didn't move. And I'm sure that her family was being harassed by the FBI. We know for a fact that Martin Luther King's family was harassed by the FBI because we can listen to the FBI tapes. They are available. They are in the museums. This happens. We also know that the FBI was found guilty in a civil suit that Coretta Scott King brought to court, where she won her civil suit, basically stating that the United States was in charge of the killing or assassination of Martin Luther King. He's praised he gets his day now, but he should have still been alive. He had a lot more years to go. Coretta Scott King just passed away in the last few years. Who knows what else Martin Luther King could have been. Now I want to get to the actual Star Spangled Banner. There's so many things that we are not taught, so we just don't know. And I just want to bring this to your awareness so that you are aware. First of all, I was talking to my cousin Bridget, and I was talking to her on Facebook, and so she was just dropping some knowledge, and I was like, I'm going to make a video, and I'm going to talk about it. So I'm just bringing her post up so I can read it to you. The U.S. national anthem was written 51 years before slavery was abolished. 51 years before black people were considered as not being property. And another 151 years before black people could vote. In essence, no, not a single black person owes the Pledge of Allegiance to a system that never welcomed them. That's number one. Number two, there is a third voice of the Star Spangled Banner, and it reads, "And where is that band who so vauntingly swore that the havoc of war and the battle's confusion, a home and a country should leave us no more? Their blood has washed out, their foul footsteps pollution, no refuge could save the erling enslaved from the terror of flight or the gloom of the grave. And the Star-Spangled Banner in triumph doeth wave, or the land of the free and the home of the brave." That is the third voice. This part, if you don't take anything away from this, is saying that America embodies racism and taunts the death of the slaves who fought for their freedom, who were told if they win, they will be freed, but they were not still freed. You can't clean that up and act like everything's fine, because this is how some people now take it as what the Star-Spangled Banner means to them. They're literally taunting the slaves that were told, if you fight for us and we win the battle, you will be freed. And then they weren't. I don't know, maybe we should make a new Star-Spangled Banner. Or maybe we should just start to focus on what we're doing as a whole. Before we were slaves and they were able to do whatever with their property, then there was lynching and people were able to not have any repercussions for lynching a black person. Now they're killing us, we're recording it, and people again are going free. So just because one person is able to make it does not mean that they don't have, one, empathy for everyone else, and two, see that the system is still broken. I don't really worry about my friends. We're going to be good. But that's not why I don't say anything, because I think that I'm going to be good. My issue is, if you want to be a waitress, you should have the opportunity to be the best waitress that you can be. You should have the opportunity to waitress at all the high-end places, Prime 112, House of Kobe, all these places. You should be able to go and make a good living. You shouldn't be just only able to get fast food and lower tier restaurants and make an okay wage, because these top tier waitresses, they make a lot of money and they are able to live well. And if that's what you want to do, you should be able to do that. Right now, that's not the case. And just because one person that's black has made it to being a waitress at Prime 112 and made a good living does not mean that the system is fixed. And we see that. There's also a meme going around that people are saying, well, Colin Kaepernick was raised by white people. He doesn't know what it means to be oppressed. That right there, you're debunking that. Oh, because he's raised by white people, he doesn't know what it means to be oppressed, which means that there is, in effect, white privilege. And so because he was raised by that, he shouldn't know anything. No, he can see the difference because he was. Or he can just open up the news and see. I mean, he is very much black, but you don't have to be black to see that this is wrong and that something needs to be done about it. So kudos to him. This is my take on what it means to protest, what it means to actually do something. And I just want to know what you guys have done. What have you done in your own, realm? Whether it be stopping office bullying, bringing up when maybe there's a racial hair guide in schools or work handbooks. Have you called out anything? Have any of you been a whistleblower? Have you protested in your own right? Have you helped to get more black people in higher positions or even through the door? What have you guys done? Or what has this stance done to get you thinking about what you can do in your line of work? But we got to be a little bit more just pushing toward anyone trying to make a difference. And we also have to have that mindset that even if I make it, that doesn't mean that the system is fixed, or if I just work really, really hard, that everybody can make it. I see a lot of people doing that. I see a lot of men that are athletes that are speaking out against Colin, that are black, that have married white women. That's just all I see right now, so I'm just calling it like it is. I'm not saying everybody, but this is what's been happening in the news. And I just think, does that mean, do you think that your white wife has made it so that you are no longer affected, so it no longer concerns you? So now you're offended. You don't see colors. You're colorblind. And that's not true. We don't live in a colorblind society, so even if you may not see colors, everybody else sees colors. So let's not act like that's an excuse to not speak out on something. And just because you made it, you're still going to have a black child. Before any of us were born, the one-drop rule applied, and that's still very much how society sees us. So just because you may or may not feel like you have to deal with it anymore, you're wealthy enough where your money transcends your racial barriers. How dare you speak on what everyone else is still dealing with and what we're dealing with in the trenches and what's for our next generation. This sounds like very much like OJ. Like, I don't know if you guys remember, but OJ was like, I don't see race. I don't want to identify as being African American. I just want to be American. We're in a post-racial society, all this type of stuff. And then after he won his case, but his name was still tainted, all his friends left. All his white friends left. He didn't have, he had stares at the grocery stores. No one would approach him. He didn't have no friends. And then where'd he go? He tried to go back to the chicken shacks and hang out with the black people. But we're like, when you had it all together, you were transracial and you weren't really trying to speak up for us. Use your voice to help us. But now you're back at square one and everybody's turned on you. That way your friends that had money, now you want to come back. Like, we should learn from that so that we aren't making the same mistake again. So that's my take on it. Let me know how you feel. Like, subscribe, comment, and that's that. Next video, I'm talking about Tiana Taylor, so stay tuned.